In this session, I will continue with classes and objects, but show you how to create attributes and methods so an instance can access that information. Employee 1 and Employee 2 are unique instances of the employee class, so they will have their own unique data. From the last session, we covered the difference between classes, objects, and instances. A class is a set of directions for how to create an instance. The employee class instructs Python to create a unique instance representing a particular employee. Therefore, inside the employee class, we define attributes and we define methods. An attribute is a quality or characteristics about a person, place, or thing. A method performs an action on the person, place, or thing. In Python, there is a difference between a method and a function. You will hear some people call a method a function and call a function a method. The difference is a method is connected to a class. A variable plus the dot operator are required to call the method. However, a function is not connected to a class and does not require a variable. Input and print are examples of a function. For our class, let's start with an initializer by writing def, prefix with 2 underscores, init with 2 underscores following init, and we write self as the parameter. The initializer is a special method that operates like a constructor. Python automatically runs this method when creating a new employee instance. The self parameter can be any name like this. However, in Python, we use self as the convention. It's required in the method definition and comes before all parameters. The other parameters will be our attributes, which provide information about the employee. All employees have a name, employee number, and salary. All 3 attributes represent an employee and describe what each employee has in our program. Each piece of information is data about an employee. Therefore, that makes up our employee data type. Now, let's assign each attribute to a variable by writing self.name equals name, self.imp underscore num equal to imp underscore num, self.salary equal to salary. Now, when it comes to the attributes and variables, they do not have to match each other, but it's convention. We can write self equals number, but I prefer them to match each other because it's convention and I just like for it to be that way. Now, we have to create an employee, and when we create an employee, the value that's stored in salary is assigned to the variable self.salary. It's the same process for employee number and name. So it's stored in the parameters and then assigned to the variables. When it comes to a method, it determines what action an employee can do and what we can do with the employee. For example, we can get the employee's information by writing def to define the method. The name will be get employee info, and we put self in the parameter. Let's return the employee name. I'm going to also skip a line by writing \n and also return the employee number by writing employee num. And we're going to put the value inside a string function by writing self dot imp none. I'm going to also skip another line. This method has one action, and that's to return the employee name and number. We see self.name and self.imp none are the variables. Any variable that starts with self is available to every method in this class. Self is the only parameter because the method does not require no more information. We are finished creating the attributes and the methods. Now we are going to access the attributes and call the method. First step is to create an employee with the name like John Doe, with an employee number of 1 and a salary of $134,000. When Python read this code line, it will call the initializer method. The purpose of the initializer method is to create an instance representing a unique employee, then set the attributes according to the values passed from the arguments. When the arguments John Doe, 1, and 134,000 are sent to the attributes, then the values are returned automatically and stored in the instance employee 1. It's the same for employee 2. Name would be Jane Doe. Employee number would be 2 with the salary of $150,000. Employee 1 and employee 2 are separate with its own set of attributes and methods. The dot operator allows Python to access each attribute and call each method. We write imp1 and a dot operator, and we see all of the information from the employee class. For this instance, attributes employee number, name, salary, and both methods get employee info and the initializer. It's the same for employee 2. We see the same information. Let's print the attributes by writing imp1, imp1 dot name, comma, imp1 dot employee number, also imp1 dot salary. I'm going to copy and paste this same information for employee 2, then change 1 to 2. I'm going to run, and the console shows each value. Jane Doe, name, 1 as the employee number, 134,000. John Doe, 1 and 134,000. Jane Doe, 2, 150,000. The true is from the last session when we show how both employee 1 and employee 2 are instances of the employee class. When it comes to calling a method, there are 2 ways to call a method. We can use the instance or the class name. The instant variable imp1, then call the getEmployeeInfo method. For the class name, we write employee, then call the method getEmployeeInfo. However, with the class name, we must also pass the instance as an argument imp2, because Python does not know which instance we want to run. Let's print both by writing the print statement before we call the method. And I'm going to run, and the console shows both employees' information, their name and number. That's it for Python classes, objects, methods, and instances. I will see you in the next session, and thanks for watching.